everybody. Welcome back to Let's Talk Movies. I'm Brad.
And I'm Miguel, guys.
And today we are talking The Walking Dead episode 1018, Find Me. This is another bonus episode. How you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. Are those counted as bonus episodes? Like, I don't understand how this still goes.
Well, I'm counting this as bonus episodes for us as I crack open a brand new beer. This is Rheingeist. Is it Wooey? Wowie? Wowie? I think it's Wowie.
Wooey? I got a General Heineken because, we're Latinos.
Ooh. That's not bad. It's pineapple and apple.
Oh my God, you fucking white people in your...
It's an IPA.
Yeah, exactly. IPAs.
Good.
What are you going to do? You going to go rock climbing afterwards?
No, I'm going to talk about the fucking Walking Dead.
That's true.
Because that's what I do with my life.
Yeah.
All right, so we're talking about episode 1018, Find Me. I thought this was a pretty cool episode. Different from what and kind of like we talked about last week. It's different than what season 10 was. It feels like a different formula, and it feels like they're trying something new, which I think is pretty dope.
I agree, and it's funny because I can still see the effects of the COVID. Oh yeah, the effects of COVID-19 in the production of the TV show. So it's kind of funny to see it like that.
I mean, shoot, he spent a quarter of the episode with the dog.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and dogs can't transmit COVID, so whatever.
Well, and I'll tell you what.
What?
That's the first thing I wanted to talk about. Dogs stole this damn show for me. Especially seeing him as a puppy. That was like my favorite part of the entire thing, which, like, I'm a dog person.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that was so cool how they showed like how he found Daryl and how the two of them got rolling.
Yeah, because I didn't really know how they met. I guess that was like that just came out of nowhere. Did. Yeah, okay, makes sense. Because I was trying to keep up with the show, so I didn't really understand how Dog is the name. It came in. I thought that's hilarious. That's his name, Dog.
Yeah, I think that's
cool. It's about as simple as you can get it. That shows exactly about an apocalypse. It was like, you're in a fucking apocalypse. Why do you need to name your dog? So it makes sense.
Yeah.
How'd you take it with the first episode? With this episode, how did? What was your first initial reaction to this episode?
I liked it. At first I was a little bit like, oh, they're gonna have him be with somebody that's not Carol. Like, God, like that sucks because I feel like I want him and Carol to be together. But honestly, I really liked Leah's character. Like she really grew on me, and I felt like the two of them meshed well. Especially like, at first I was like, I don't know if I like this or not. It felt weird. It felt forced, but hell, I don't know if I would say it felt forced. It felt weird because we're so used to seeing him alone or with Carol. Like there's never really, except for Connie a little bit, and then you had Beth when him and Beth were like kind of getting close. The thing about Daryl is Daryl has a hard time letting anybody close. Like it's like their core group of people that he like lets in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think showing like 3 months later or 9 months later or however many weeks later or whatever, like he had time to process this with Leah. And I think he really did love her. I mean, I think he cared about her. I mean, we saw ups and downs in their relationship. I thought it was kind of crazy that he spent 2 years looking for Rick.
Yeah, the amount of time jumps they had in this episode was, I'm not gonna lie, hard to keep track.
It was a lot.
It was hard to keep track. But I mean, they're basically, I think it's weird, but like these bonus episodes that they're doing, I guess, is like basically telling you what happened over the past 5 years that no one knows.
Well, and I think they needed to do that though, because there were like, I had so many questions about Maggie and about where she was. And I mean, obviously we still have questions about where Rick is. I mean, we've gotten glimpses in World Beyond and shit, but we've still never really gotten like an exact answer of what happened to Rick, other than he's a bee and they took him in the weird 3-ring helicopter with Jadis, and he's going to the CRM like that. We don't really know.
Holy shit, I forgot about that girl.
Yeah, but Jadis, my dad was asking me about that the other day. He was like, what the fuck happened to her? I said, I was like, I don't know where she went. I mean, I guess she's with Rick and she's with the CRM people if that's really who Rick is with. Um, but what the other thing that I really liked about this episode, other than Dog and Leah and Daryl's relationship, it really showed how traumatized he was about Rick. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
think in a way he feels responsible
Yeah.
for that. Like he couldn't help him, or he couldn't save him, or he couldn't find him. And I think that's why, like the title "Find Me," it served two purposes. Obviously, it served the purpose with Leah in that he left the note for Leah saying like I belong with you, find me. But it also serves a purpose that I feel like that was in his head the entire time he was looking for Rick. Was like he feels like Rick is telling him like find me, like I'm out there, find me. Like he deep down he knows Rick is alive. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why like when the storm was happening, that was a good scene, man. Like
Yeah,
he
it
went
was.
he went through a lot in those 2 years when he was like living like off the grid out in the woods alone. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, like I feel like that would be really emotionally traumatizing. You know what I mean?
Yes, and
But
that's
I mean,
kind
what do
of,
you think?
well, with that storm, it was like it felt like a really low point for Daryl, and he's had a lot of low points, and it clearly shows that this man is traumatized by Rick's disappearance or his accident. Because you remember when Leah like asked him like if he lost anyone close? I think he said he lost his brother, and I thought he was gonna talk about
That was about Merle.
yeah, I thought he was gonna talk about Merle, but he
Yeah,
said it
I
was like
thought it was
there was an
cool.
accident, but he was like that was basically referring to Rick, and I was like,
Yeah, I
that's
thought
very
that was
sweet.
very very cool that he referred to him as his brother. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Rick did that. Remember the martyrs people? I don't know how the hell you're actually supposed to say their name,
The
but
Marauders.
the Maroot, yeah, whoever, the ones that kidnapped Carl and Rick bit his neck out and whatever, and
Yeah,
he said to Daryl, "You're my brother." I mean, I think that
exactly.
was I think the two of them are always going to have that bond, and that's why if they're going to end the show correctly, I really want to see Daryl and Rick reunite because I feel like that's at this point for me, the end of the show is going to be about seeing that core original group reunite again. I
Yeah.
mean, yes, I care about Ezekiel, I care about Negan, I care about Aaron and Gabriel, but I want to see Rick and Daryl and Carol and Maggie reunite with each other. You know what I mean? That's
Mm-hmm.
and Michonne. That's what's going to make it really feel like okay, we've reached the conclusion. And then they can do the Daryl and Carol spinoff and World Beyond and Fear and the movie. I mean, then they can expand and do whatever they want and take those characters. Um, I'm still hoping for a Negan spinoff. You know what I mean? Just stuff like that. But
But we haven't got
what?
his backstory yet, have we?
No, that'll be the last one. Here's Negan is the last of the 6 episodes. Yeah, I am. I'm freaking stoked about that.
Okay.
It's called Here's Negan. Um, again, this episode looked spectacular. You know what I mean? I thought it was really creative how, in terms of the color grading and the color itself, it was colder at the like present day before
Mm-hmm.
the time jumps were confusing. It was a lot. I was like trying to keep up with the time jumps like while I was watching.
Yeah,
It
it was
happened all the
difficult
time.
as fuck, man. Jeez. Like I was like, can you please just stick it to one area? Because before, like it would just like because The Walking Dead always does like a what happened before
Yeah.
this certain thing, and it was like the whole show would just be in the past, but they kept jumping to
Yeah.
timelines. I was like, my guy, you gotta give me a roadmap. Let me know what's going on because I can't keep track. And
Yeah.
whenever I love this story because it was so nice to see Daryl like have like I guess finally have a relationship with someone like
Yeah.
like a legitimate
Definitely.
intimate. And I know the whole thing with like everyone wanted Carol and Daryl to like hit it off, but I think like they're on a rough patch and they've been on a rough patch. Like I think one of the producers or directors or screenwriters was talking about like this episode alone was supposed to like showcase like the relationship between Daryl and Carol and how unsteady it's been over the past I guess 5 years because of the things the two of them did. that both of them didn't like. And when they had that
Yeah.
conversation at the end, I thought it was like the peak moment because it was like because Carol already said like, "Have we lost our way?" Because she was
Mhm.
reflecting all the decisions she's made,
Right.
but for the
Yep.
greater good. And Daryl was just like, "Yeah, we are not the same anymore. Like we did what we needed to do, and
Yeah.
there's no going back."
Well, I'm glad you brought up the Daryl Carroll thing because I enjoyed at the beginning their like banter back and forth about like you're going, no, you're not, you're going, no, you're not. And like just that was kind of like fun. And we don't get to see them just kind of like playfully interacting with each other much on the show because
Hmm.
I mean like
It was pretty
it's
bad.
so the show is so heavy. But there were a couple of things that stood out to me. Carol was talking about we lost the prison, we lost the farm, we lost in Atlanta. We like they've everywhere they've tried to plant roots, they lose it because of another group. And I think she's saying, when she said like, what if our luck is running out? What if we lose Alexandria? They've already survived Negan and the Saviors. They've already survived the Alpha and the Whisperers. I think. Do you think that that's foreshadowing at all? That we might lose Alexandria? Not in this maybe not in these 6 episodes, but somewhere in the last season. Are we going to lose Alexandria and put them like on the move again?
Oh, wholeheartedly. I know for a
You think so?
fact. Yeah, Alexander's gonna get fucking tore up again. I think by the time they've already like rebuilt and like gone through all of their shit, someone else is gonna start throwing grenades into that place.
Mm,
Almost certainly. And yeah, I honestly don't know what's next for them after Alexandria. But then again, like we kind of did. We kind of knew what was gonna happen after the farm, after the prison, all the way up to Alexandria. We knew what was gonna happen, what they're gonna find. But now at this point, like I really don't know. Other than,
yeah.
the Commonwealth, like there isn't anywhere else they can go.
Mhm.
Plus, I haven't read past in regards to the comics, I haven't read past Alexandria. So I don't know what happens after the
Yeah.
Whisperer War, to be
Well, I
honest.
I don't in the comic books, I don't think they lose Alexandria. I think Alexandria is there till the end. Um, but again, the show, they might they might take a big sharp left turn and do something drastically different. I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if they did that. You know what I mean? And I don't,
Yeah.
in a way, I think they've changed the show so much, rightfully so. They don't need to follow the comic books. I don't think that it needs to end the same way that the comic books did, because it's two separate stories at this point. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, that in that interview with Norman Reedus that you were referring to earlier, um, Norman Reedus had said, they were talking about this episode, and Norman had said that Daryl and Carol felt bad for like blowing up at each other at the end. Like you could tell that both of them like felt bad for going that far, you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and saying like what they really felt. But at the same time, I think they needed to say that. I like you had said, I think that tension had been building up for a really long time, because even as like viewers, I mean, you remember when Carol and Daryl were kind of fooling around and they were kind of together, like
Mm-hmm.
season 2, 3, maybe like into 4.
Yeah.
So I mean, like I feel like really since the prison, we've kind of been on this like, what are Carol and Daryl? You know what I mean? Are
Exactly.
they
Like
together? Are they not? Are they best friends? Are they more than best friends, but neither one of them will admit it? And this Leah thing threw a wrench in that chain for me, because I genuinely liked Leah. I really did. I thought she was kind of a cool character. And I think if I had to guess, I would guess that the writers purposely left that episode open ended so that they could bring Leah back. Because even in that interview, they had asked Norman Reedus, like, what's her future? And he was like, we're always moving forward. Like the show's always moving forward. You know what I mean? Which is the
yeah.
most Tom Holland answer I could ever imagine out of Norman Reedus. You know what I mean?
Yeah, except Norman Reedus can keep a secret.
I know,
I
right?
was I wanted to talk about the parallels in the show, which is really interesting because like the relationship in this episode alone between Daryl and Leah and Daryl and Carol were very similar. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like where it came to like what the
In terms of them
conversations.
being complicated and kind of strained.
Yeah, and just like the dialogue alone, like when
Yeah,
Carol said the dead will catch up to us,
yeah, yeah.
and Daryl's like, well, only if we let it. Well, that's something Daryl said to Leah, and Leah responded the same
Right.
way. So that was interesting, and just seeing the way they were in the beginning of the episode and how it connected to the way Leah and Daryl were during their time. Like it was so similar that I think the reason why Daryl kind of blew up is also because he's grieving the loss of like like his basically
Right.
uh apocalypse wife, I guess. And like since that's gone, like he sees Carol and how similar she is, and like understanding that loss and how it hasn't been resolved, he's
Hmm.
lashing out still because it's like you're not Leah, and and you've done all these things, so it's hard for me to be okay because Carol was just trying to be, I guess her what Daryl said is run away, is like
Yeah.
because like it's like she doesn't want to deal with everything that she's done, she just wants to move forward and keep going. But Daryl's very much like, no, you have to take in consideration the things you've done and admit the things that you've done.
Right.
And but she's stuck on her ideology of saying like, oh well, the only reason why I did it because I knew I'd be right. And
Yeah.
that kind of like stirred Daryl the wrong way. I think it's because of the relationship with Leah. So like,
Definitely.
there's a lot of parallels and there's a lot of contrast between the relationship between those two relationships, and that's why I think it was so conflicting in this episode.
Hmm.
And
Well,
I think that'll be brought up later on.
yeah. And another thing, not Daryl's got a lot on his plate because I know, that argument between Carol and Daryl at the end of the episode was what, 4 years? Again, the damn timeline thing. It was 4 years after the whole Leah thing.
Yes.
So I mean, that's been pent up for a long time. Plus, he misses Rick, he misses Carl and all the other characters that are gone. He's trying to figure out, the Negan thing with Maggie. Maggie's back. They're trying to rebuild Alexandria. Now he's worried about Carol. There's a lot on Daryl's plate, and there's a lot that, if we've seen anything about Daryl since the show started, he's he's never been one to really show emotion very much, but when he does, he's emotional. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Yeah.
And I think, that scene at the end where him and Leah were arguing about, should Daryl stay with her or should he keep looking for Rick or should he go back to Alexandria with the people he's been with since the beginning? Um, he had a big choice to make there. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's how I know that Leah really meant something to him, is that he was going to choose Leah. He was going to choose Leah over the people that he had escaped Atlanta. Like everything up to this point, not even just, I mean, Atlanta, the farm, the prison, Terminus, just everything up to that point. He was going to leave that for Leah. And I mean, I don't think the thing that I didn't understand is why didn't he get or try to get Leah to go back to Alexandria with him?
I was confused about
Do
that,
you
but
think
also
she wouldn't go?
yeah, because I mean, because they're so similar in regards of like being disconnected from people because of understand because you know how before Daryl was very like he still is to a certain degree like not open to people because he knows like in
Yeah.
this apocalypse people will go.
Right.
And Leah was the same way because of all the things she's lost. That's why
Mm-hmm.
she stays here with her dog and didn't try to venture out and look for another place. Like
Yeah.
Daryl
Yeah.
understood
Yeah.
that she didn't want to be around people because she's already experienced that type of loss,
Mm-hmm.
and Daryl understood that because he's been there. Because they've had the conversation of saying like we are very similar. So again, I don't know why Daryl didn't say, hey, why don't you come to Alexandria? But because that was before the Whisperers, that was before it all like
Right. Yeah.
went
Yeah.
to hell.
Mm-hmm.
So
Um, you know, I think there were a lot of symbolic things about that. Like even the storm. Um, I think the storm was symbolic in the way the map like disintegrated, and when Daryl screamed out of like frustration and like he was upset. He he put a lot of work into that map and trying to map everything out and find Rick, and then it was gone. In the same way that, Daryl and Carol's relationship is symbolic with Daryl and Leah's relationship. That storm, I think, in a way, was symbolic of. I mean, Rick wouldn't want Daryl to agonize over him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rick would want him to be like, dude, you got to move on. Don't worry about me anymore. Like, you got to worry about everybody at home. And I think Rick would want him to move on. And I think he's trying to move on because he would think that of Leah. I think all of this stirred up the stuff with Leah.
Yeah, because he
Going
was
back and
conflicting with the
finding it,
idea.
and
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. I would like to see her character come back. I really would. I thought
Yeah,
it was
absolutely.
a good character.
I hope she comes back by like the next season at least, because I mean, well, we still got like another year left of The Walking Dead, so to
I think we
speak.
have more than that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we will see her. It's just gonna be, I don't know. It'd be such a wrench into the progression of how the original group is, because you know what I mean. Like this was like a separate story that Daryl went through.
Yeah.
So it'd be really weird for her to come back, but I would still fucking love it. I would love to see her come in because she was so badass.
She was badass.
She was literally by herself in the house with a dog. Like that's perfect in a zombie apocalypse. I'm curious as to why she ran away like in that fashion though.
Yeah, I wonder what. Well,
Plus, there's plenty of other like bad groups out there that could have like steered her away. So like I don't know.
I had an idea and a thought. I could be reaching, and if any of you listening to this, if you think I'm reaching, please feel free to tell me in the comments or tweet at us at We Talk the Movies. But in the same way that Ezekiel and Princess and Eugene were taken by the Commonwealth soldiers at the end of the last season finale.
Mm-hmm.
What if she was taken by Commonwealth soldiers?
See, that's what I figured.
I don't know how far. I mean, from what my guess would be, Eugene and that his group were farther out than where Daryl is, because it looks like two separate places. I guess if you could argue that if the Commonwealth soldiers were in the woods that close to Alexandria, they would have found Alexandria. But then again, I don't know. Maybe that's coming. So I don't know. I honestly wondered if she was taken by the Commonwealth soldiers, but I don't know. I thought it was really cool. The other overarching thing about this was, in that interview, Norman Reedus said Daryl's still trying to like learn how to be social. Like he's stayed in his bubble and not trusted anybody for so long that like I feel like in a way he's almost like a little kid. Like when they were hiding behind the tree, you could smell the sexual tension between them when they were like glaring into each other's eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But I think he's still trying to figure out how to navigate that and how to navigate feeling emotion towards other people. You know what I mean? Because he's been so cold and so like, these are my people and that's it. There's nobody else for so long. So final question of the night. You want to see Daryl and Leah together or Daryl and Carol together?
Daryl and Leah, fuck out of here. I'm sorry. Sorry. Like you like listen, you had like multiple seasons to make that happen and it hasn't happened. So I'm sorry. But now here's Leah. Fine as wine. Just gotta say that straight off the back. So and how badass she is too. Like, geez, like International Women's Day for her. Like, I fucking love her. She's badass. She got a dog. I hope she reunites with a dog because that would be a beautiful thing. I want to see that reunite more than Daryl and Leah. Like, just seeing that's like an Airbud scene. Like, please, golly, come back. So I would much rather see Leah and Daryl because they seem like such a team. But obviously, Daryl and Carol have so much history
I know.
But
Well,
they're still the same. It's about the same amount because it's like a couple of years. So I don't know.
I don't know. I'm really torn there because I think Daryl and Leah had a real chemistry,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really evident. Like it was very evident. But at the same time, Daryl and Carol have all of that history together too. I mean, look at what they've been through together since the very beginning. I mean, look at how Carol used to be, and that's the other cool thing about these characters is look how far they've come. I mean, do you remember when Carol was getting the shit kicked out of her by Ed?
Mm-hmm.
And, she had the short hair and he was like a wife beater. And now look at Carol. I mean, Carol is like arguably one of the biggest badasses of the entire like series.
Yeah.
She is. I mean, she straight up is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These characters have come so far. I think Daryl and Leah have the chemistry, but Carol and Daryl have the history. So I think depending how they play it, I'd be okay either way. But
History don't mean shit, fam. It's I'm team Daryl and Leah. By the next episode we do
I
with this,
understand.
I'll have a hashtag for y'all. I'll think of something for that couple because it's gonna happen. I'm team them.
I completely get it, man. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this bonus episode. We are on episode 2 of our mini series talking these final 6 episodes of The Walking Dead. Our main show is available on Monday nights at 8 p.m. is when new episodes drop. We are on YouTube, we are on Spotify, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. So please, if you're watching on YouTube, leave us a like and a comment. Let us know, what did you think of this week's episode of The Walking Dead? And if you're listening on Spotify, please share us on Twitter, on Instagram, and tweet at us. Let us know what you thought of this week's episode of The Walking Dead. We hope everything is good in your world, and we will talk to y'all soon. Later.
Later.